I say set your homecoming now. Set it out, set it out, set it out. Say set your homecoming now. Set it out, set it out, set it out. Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Lionel, again coming to you from the class of 2009 for another episode of PV versus everybody. And I'm excited for this week, man. I'm excited for this week because we got, man, it's homecoming week. We got a lot mixed in the pot for this week, man. And so this is going to be such an exciting time. We got basketball season coming up. We got soccer tournament coming up at PV this weekend. We got the volleyball season that's about to close and they about to get toward the tournament. There's just a lot of stuff going on this week, and I'm super excited, man. So thank you guys for tuning in, for joining us. I know we're coming on a little bit later than we normally do, but I want to make sure we can get everything in because I want to make sure we got our basketball preview ready for this evening because, hey, next week it gets started. Like next week we get into it as far as the basketball season is concerned as well. So just want to let you guys know, man, if you haven't subscribed already to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this with PV Nation, man. Tonight, we're going to be having our basketball preview. So anybody that's interested in Panther Nation, as far as the Lady Panthers, as far as the Panthers of the men's volleyball squad, basketball squad, make sure you let them know, like, hey, come jump on because we getting it in this evening. And I want to put the link in the comment for anybody that wants to jump on throughout the evening. If you got something you want to share, then that is the StreamYard link. You guys can definitely come jump on with me and get it in. Share your thoughts, share your commentary, because it's that time, man. It's time to get into the purple and gold. So we got 6 segments today. Of course, we're going to be talking about a recap of that FAMU game. Recap of that game, right? You know what I'm saying? We got our PV fantasy football is back in full effect. Last week we had no winners, right? Because nobody can win when you score 0 points. All right. So we had no winners last week. But this week we got a winners board. You feel me? And we're talking about the keys to the game and score prediction for the UAPB game. We also got, again, like I said, today, the basketball preview, 2023 basketball preview. Of course, we got our 20 question sports edition, and we're going to talk about a recap of the women's volleyball this past week as well and what they got going on. So got a lot packed in today. So we're going to be here for a little segment. So pull your chair up, sit down, get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Again, if you guys are interested in jumping on and sharing your thoughts regarding anything, the link to the StreamYard is right there in the comments. So go ahead and grab that and jump on. But let's get straight to it, man. Let's talk about, you got to put the winners first. All right? You got to put the winners first. Not second, not third, not fourth. First. All right. So right now with a 15-12 overall record, right? Overall record. And as I say, that means they had to do some winning out of conference. And that's what you want. You want a team that's not afraid to get it done, right? 15-12 overall, 10-3 in the SWAC. Right now, sitting in second place, only second to Alabama State, which has been one of the 2 main powers, right, in the SWAC over the last few years. So they're only in second place to Alabama State, which puts them in prime position for the SWAC tournament that's coming up in 2 weeks, right? I believe it starts November 17th. So listen, this puts those young ladies in prime position in second place to be able to get through the SWAC tournament, to give them the ability to play against some teams that are on the lower end of the rankings, to give them a chance to actually get to the SWAC title game, right? To the semifinal, to the SWAC title game, and give themselves a shot to win this tournament, right? And this is big, man. First year head coach Sherry Lindsay, she's doing her thing. I mean, came in and completely revamped this program in 1 year. And you're talking about a program that was on the downward slide, a program where there was a lot of news and information coming out about the issues in the program. So to come in, to bring her style, right, to bring her charisma, to allow the players to be themselves, to allow the atmosphere to completely change. Listen, we got to give it up for her and for what she's doing with all the ladies of PV as far as volleyball is concerned. So this last week, just taking a look at some of the scores, of course, they went 2-1 on this SWAC roundup number 2 that they had over in Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson State is, again, one of those top 4 teams right now in the SWAC. You got us, you got Jackson State, you got FAMU, and then again, right, you got Alabama State sitting at number 1. So they did drop the game to Jackson State. Very, very close game. Very good game throughout, though, right? If you look at the scores, 25-19, 25-18, 25-18, 25-19, and then that last 15-point game, right? 16-14, right? I mean, look how close this game was. So, again, when you got a team that's as young as the team that Coach Lindsay got, I think that some of these close games, some of these close losses is a good thing to show that they're battling, that they're fighting, because this is going to mean that they're tested and ready for SWAC tournament play. So the game that they dropped against Alabama State, a game that they dropped against a FAMU, a game that they dropped here against a Jackson, this is good to learn, right, what you need to do in order to get over the hump, right? Of course, they've had other games throughout the season against a Tarleton State, right? Against University of New Orleans or Lafayette, right? So they played other games out of conference as well that they played tough, right? Had some good, tough matches. And so this is all in preparation for what's coming up in 2 weeks. And so I think this team is primed to have a shot, right? And that's all you want is a shot in the SWAC tournament, right? So they're putting themselves in a really good position. Of course, against Alabama, and this is completely wrong. Apologize for having the wrong teams on here, right? So Jackson State is the team that they played in that first game. I believe the second game they played against Mississippi Valley, right? That 25-9, 25-12, 25-17 match that they won. And then that last game, I believe, was against I believe that was Alabama A&M, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go make sure that I got this correct. I don't know how I missed that, but so they had Jackson State, they had Mississippi Valley, and then let's see, that last game was against Alabama A&M, right? 3-0, right? So forgive me for that, right? So corrections, but 2 wins, right? 1 loss. Again, sweeps in those games against Valley and against Alabama A&M. 5-setter against Jackson State, right? But again, tough games. It's not bad, right? Because you need those tough, close games so you can learn how to get over the hump as a young team. So players of the week, right? Again, Leah Lawson is just completely killing it, right? 101 assists over this past 3 games at that SWAC roundup. So again, we gotta listen. Gotta tip your hat to her, right? Because continually putting her teammates in place and position in order to get the job done, right, and get points on the board. And again, shout out to Jacqueline Nino, right? Jacqueline Nino, 46 digs over this past 3 games at the SWAC roundup. One she had 24 digs in. So listen, big game for her on the defensive end, making sure that we can continue to keep the ball in play. Listen, that's a big thing. So again, want to shout out to all of these ladies, right? Listen, Miss Janaya, of course, Kylie Owens, on the kill side of things, still continue to do their thing. But this is a good complete team where everybody is seeming to know their role and know the position that they need to be in. So again, I'm super excited for what they're learning, for the energy that they have amongst themselves. And listen, this SWAC volleyball tournament is going to be in PV, all right? Just like the soccer tournament, the volleyball tournament is going to be in PV. This needs to be one tournament that is like, listen, we might not can put it at PV because this is just an unfair advantage because it's there, right? So that's what it needs to be during that weekend when the ladies are playing. And I think PV Nation is going to show up for them, right? And going to show out, right? So again, the volleyball team SWAC tournament coming up starting November 17th. They got 3 games left on their schedule before the tournament comes up. So they got a game against Alcorn, a game against Southern on November 6th, and then Texas Southern to close it out at home on November 10th, right? So 3 games left. These 3 teams are all middle to lower pack teams. So these are definitely 3 games that they should be able to get it done in. Of course, they've taken care of Southern and Texas Southern already. So they should definitely be able to get the job done, right, and close out the season with a 3-game winning streak, right, to push their conference record to 13-3 overall. Conference record and 18-12 overall, right, which is, great. First-year head coach, 18-12 conference overall record, 13-3 in the conference. Second place conference finish would be massive, right? That's massive, and you're moving in the right direction. So, man, shouts out to the Lady Panthers of the volleyball team for what they're doing. Make sure you check them out, right? I know those 2 games against Alcorn and Southern are away games. If they are showing, I know Alcorn has their own network where they show games, and you got to pay for those normally, right? But Southern, if they have that available, man, make sure you check that out. And of course, against Texas Southern, make sure you have your face in the building, right? Or if you can't get there, then make sure you're watching on YouTube to show your support. So with that being said, man, want to let you guys know, listen, starting tomorrow, mañana, Manana is tomorrow, yesterday. Anyway, listen, tomorrow we got the SWAC Women's Soccer Championship. The tournament is starting beginning tomorrow, right? At PVAMU, at the soccer complex. And so it's an awesome opportunity. Of course, we talked about it earlier before on multiple shows that this is a time where, listen, we got the SWAC soccer tournament on campus during homecoming week. If there should be an advantage at any time, this should be it, right? You know what I'm saying? All the alums that's made their way down, that's in the place to be, right? Make your way to the soccer complex to cheer the Lady Panthers on, to give them the boost that they need. Listen, to talking to heckle anybody that they facing so that we can get the job done, man. Because listen, we not only trying to win in every sport, we're trying to win the Commissioner's Cup at the end of the day too, which shows and which goes to the best athletic program on the field and on the court during the previous year. And so if we can push the Lady Panthers to accomplish something by winning this SWAC tournament, which, hey, this coach has led this team before to success, then, hey, we can get it done, right? So the tournament is going to start tomorrow. This is the slate of matches. Of course, it's going to start off at 10 in the morning with Graham going against Alabama A&M. Got Texas Southern against Pine Bluff. Jackson plays Alcorn State, and Southern, which is finished third, goes up against the Lady Panthers in the last game of the day at 7 o'clock, right? So tomorrow at 7 o'clock, listen, before you head over to check out the alumni, you know what I'm saying, concert, slide over to the PV Soccer Complex and get it in, right? You know what I'm saying? We can slide over a good 500, 600, 700 people over there to get it in. Put that note. Listen, Southern ain't played in front of 700 people before that's heckling and that's giving them that business. So if we can slide over there to give that support to the Lady Panthers so they can get that win, then we got the next match on Friday that will be at 6 o'clock, right? On Friday, we can slide over again to help them get that win. And then after Saturday, right, when the football team preferably takes care of UAPB, we can slide back over for the championship match at 1 o'clock before we head out, before we drive out, before we get in the RVs and take it back where we going. Listen, we can just stop by at 1 o'clock and get it done so we can take care of business all the way through. So I'm super excited and ready. Now, all of these games are going to be shown on the SWAC Digital Network again. So for those who are not coming into homecoming, you can check out the Lady Panthers on the SWAC Digital Network on YouTube. So make sure that, you know what I'm saying, you're supporting whatever way you can support. But listen, we need to be there. Be there. Be there. We already there anyway. You might as well be there, right? At the game. So yeah, man, Lady Panthers, 7 o'clock, be in the building. And like Kerry say, man, get to the game. Not even just Houston people. You Houston, you Dallas, you San Antonio, you Beaumont, you California, you Florida, you Atlanta. All you people who coming down to homecoming, make sure you're in the building, man, and show your support. So we're about to get it in, and I think we're going to get the job done. Because listen, SWAC soccer tournament, SWAC volleyball tournament, both in PV, they should have never did it. They should have never did it because we're going to have home field advantage, and we're going to take care of business. So let's keep it going, man. Talk about this last game with football. I had to start it off with something good, right? Something light, right? Because the reality is we got stumped. We got stumped, man. 45-7. 45-7 against FAMU. And listen, it's 14-7. Now, the game didn't start off well. At all, period. But at the end of the day, you fought to where you're down 14-7 with 52 seconds left on FAMU's 35-yard line. You fought to be in the game. And as much issues as we had with defense all year, right? With defense giving up big plays all year. And we saw it rear its ugly head in the second half a lot more, right? But at the end of the day, you're down 14-7 with the ball on FAMU's 35-yard line. And the pass that Trayvon Conley threw, which I've watched this playback probably 10, 15 times. I don't understand who he's throwing the ball to, who he's trying to get the ball to on that play. I mean, I'm just being honest, right? I asked Coach Bubba in the SWAC media availability, what did he say to Trayvon? Didn't understand what Coach Bubba was talking about, to be honest. He didn't say anything of what he told him or what Trayvon said he saw. All I know is the pass was completely short. Where he threw the ball, no receiver was there. I just don't understand who he's even trying to get the ball to. And really, if he takes the check down, even if we don't get the first down, like it's 1st and 10 on that play. So we just keep the ball rolling, right? Still got timeouts. We still got a chance. We still got a shot. So, but that was the game. That turned out to be the game right there, because they intercept that pass, they run it back to their 22-yard line, they score and go up 21-7. Even if you go into halftime 14-7, you're not mad. You're not mad going into half 14-7. Okay, you've held FAMU to 14 points in the first half. Now, obviously, they've shown that they have been a great second half team, but listen, you're still in the game. You're still in the game. And so that's really where it ended, man. Yeah, the running back was open on the play. I think there's Jamarius Brooks was in the game. And so that's what the issue is. You know what I mean? Not taking the easy throw, not checking the ball down, right? Not keeping, it's just a game awareness, right? It's just a game awareness of knowing where you are in the game, where you're on the field, to know what you need. And that's the biggest issue I have. And this offense continues to let us down game after game. Again, as much as the defense has been an issue, and the defense has been an issue, but I still have to ask myself, if the offense moves the ball at all and controls the clock at all against Houston Christian, how different is this game? If the offense moves the ball at all, scores at all against FAMU, how different is this game? And so I put the onus, number one, on the offensive side of the ball, because any defense that has to stay on the field time and time again, I mean, listen, you can't expect them to hold up. And this defense has shown that it has holes. And so if the offense can't stay on the field, if the offense can't continue to move the ball and control the clock. So that was a game right there. That was a game. They go up 21-7. That's really the game right there. Obviously, they come out second half, 3 plays, you don't make a tackle, and you go for 50 yards or whatever it was, right? I mean, that's the game. End of that second half, the first drive of that second half, game's over there, right? And his team has yet to show that it has any fight at all. That's my issue. My issue is, when will this team show that it has fight? That even if you're going to beat me, that even if you're more talented than me, you're going to still have to knock me out, though. Like, you're going to have to fight me in order to win. Like, we're going to wrestle until zeros on the clock, though. But I just don't see that in this team. I don't see in this team that heart. I don't see the heart in the team. This is my personal perspective, right? I don't see the heart in this team that says, listen, this team is more talented than me, but they still going to have to beat me. They're still going to have to fight for everything they get, though, even if they're more talented. And so I'm not completely shocked that it was a blowout, because if any team would get blown out by FAMU, I could say it's us. Not even a Valley, not even a UAPB, us, because we just don't show up. Sometimes we just don't show up, and we just don't fight, and we just don't claw and scratch, right? And we didn't do that this game, right? So we can move the ball if we throw it to the tight end. Domel only blocking out the basically playing like Kelsey in the Alcorn game. Yeah. Again, those check downs in that Alcorn game is the reason we get down the field and win that game, right? Checks down to Domel, check down to Murray. So, we have to listen, and even checks down to the running backs. We need to use that more often, right? Many times teams have learned us. That's just the reality, right? So teams have learned and looked on film and said, hey, listen, Conley does not go check the ball down. He does not go to his running backs. He does not check down to his tight ends. He doesn't look for the drag routes, right? He's looking downfield. And many of our plays, we have every route that's 10 plus yards. And at the end of the day, we need some plays to just move, keeping the ball going and keeping the momentum and keeping moving. And so, it is what it is, man. But 45-7, that's what it is this game. Nothing good, really. Just all bad, man. Just really all bad. It's hard if you're on defense, you get a pick, then the offense push you back on the field. And yeah, this is what I'm saying, right? And that's why I put the onus on the offense. My onus is on the offense more than the defense, because if the offense can just be average, right, it changes the perspective of what your defense can do. Because at the end of the day, even with the offense barely doing anything in the first half, the defense still only gave up 14 points. So that's something. So players of the game, I got Trayshawn Spiller, 4 receptions, 54 yards, and that touchdown. Great catch on that back shoulder. First time I've really seen that back shoulder throw all season. So great catch on that pass. And then also Darren Vasquez, 4 tackles this game, 1 sack for 7 yards against Jeremy Musa and FAMU. Derek Ray Jr. also had a great game, 5 tackles with 2 tackles for loss. But I'm giving it, tip my hat to Darren Vasquez, man. Give him some love from this game. So those are my players of the game from this past game. Again, if we look at where we are now, taking that loss, we got 3 games left. Got UAPB, we have Southern and Alabama State. And so it's not completely over. There is definitely a shot for us still to be able to win the SWAC West and get into the SWAC championship game. Are we going to do that is another question, right? But it's still a possibility. It's very much a possibility. Alcorn still has Southern left. Alcorn still has Jackson State left. And so they still can drop a game, right? We play Southern. And so we still hold our destiny in terms of beating them. Grambling still has Southern, Alabama, and Alabama State left. And so, listen, Grambling is probably going to drop another game. I think they're probably going to lose to Alabama State. And so you still have a shot to get in the SWAC championship game. The question is, can you win out? Can you win homecoming? Can you go to Southern to win? And can you beat an Alabama State team that has been playing better and better every week with this new quarterback they have? That's really the question. And so we're going to see if we can get the job done, if we've turned the tables on this November, horribleness we've shown over the last few years. But we're going to see, man. We're going to see if we can get it done. So review real quick from the SWAC this past week. Grambling with the win over Bethune-Cookman 28-14. Of course, Alcorn State handled business. They're probably playing the best football maybe altogether. I mean, FAMU played great against us the last 2 weeks. They haven't played so great. Alcorn is probably the team that's playing the best right now, I would say. They got a tough one coming up against Southern. Jackson State, of course, with the win over Pine Bluff. Alabama State beats Alabama A&M in the Magic City Classic. And, of course, Southern literally sneaks away with a victory against Texas Southern. Texas Southern up 17-7 in the fourth quarter with, I think, less than 5 minutes to go, right, and lose that game. Crazy, right? Of course, a 54-yard field goal hit by Southern to end the fourth quarter. So, listen, miracle kids, right? So, but again, Southern is probably still going to drop. They may still drop a couple other games. The question is, are we going to beat Southern? That's the real question, right? So right now, if you look, Southern and Alcorn tied for first. Of course, that's the big game coming up this week at Alcorn. Grambling is 3-2. We are 3-2 as well. Of course, Texas Southern and Pine Bluff, they're out of the race, right? And so you also got Florida A&M. Jackson State and Alabama State are both right there for second place. Of course, Alabama State still got a couple big games coming up, though. They still play Grambling. They still have us, right? So Alabama State still could drop a game or two. But right now they're fighting Jackson in order to see if they can finish second in the SWAC East, which I think would be great for Coach Eddie Robinson and the Hornets over there. in Montgomery because, listen, they are, that would be a step forward from them from last year. And that's the thing. You got to just keep momentum going. So I think that'd be a big thing for Alabama State, and they're faithful if they can finish second to Florida and them in the SWAC East. But SWAC West is still crazy, up for grabs. A lot of games coming up that's going to decide this. So we just got to take it one game at a time. So again, like I said, on a big game coming up, right? You got Southern at Alcorn. Woo! Southern at Alcorn. That's going to be the game of the week, right? But also, Grambling State and Alabama State is a big game for us in terms of where we stand. Because, again, Grambling has the tiebreaker over us because they beat us. And so if Alabama State can beat them, that gives Grambling 3 losses. I don't think the team that wins the SWAC West is going to have more than 2 losses. And so Grambling, if they drop another one either to Southern or to Alabama State, they're in trouble. But if Grambling wins out, they're in great position. If Alcorn wins out, they're in great position. If Southern wins out, so everybody, it depends on who wins their last 3 games. That's the team that is in the driver's seat. Who can just win their last 3 games? Because these other games are going to shift. And Southern still plays everybody left in the rest of the season. So they say, we beat Southern. Their quarterback isn't good. We're not going to beat the Bees, hoping we win homecoming first. We'll see. At the end of the day, our defensive backs have not played well. And so we've given a lot of quarterbacks that we ain't even heard of, right, opportunity. I mean, Mississippi Valley threw for over 250 against us. So, we'll see. We'll see. But like you say, we need to just take it one game at a time. If we can beat UAPB on homecoming, take care of that game, see what happens when the smoke clears in Montgomery and in Lorman, Mississippi, and then we'll know where we stand, right? We can come out this week tied for first again if Southern takes care of Alcorn, because now it puts us in a position where Southern will be in first place, but we play Southern next week. And so we can go in and get it done. Yeah, it's about to get real interesting. And as I said, leading up in the beginning of the show, does this team have heart? That's what we're going to find out right now, right? You're coming off a big, bad loss, 45-7. Of course, listen, multiple players are out this game, right? So, listen, Ahmad Antoine out, Brian Jenkins out, Savage out because of his own failure, right? But out, right? Like, Stephen Shaw still out. So, we got a lot of guys who are out. But at the end of the day, do you got heart? Do you have heart? Do you have fight in you? Do you got pride and respect for yourself, right? For your university, for your family? Are you just going to lay down? That's what it is, right? And to me, the difference between this team and others is other teams have fight. That's it. They're not more talented. They just have that right? They got that heart inside them. And so I'm hoping we show up, man, and show some heart. But let's get to the PV fantasy football. Y'all know what it is. We got PV fantasy football for this week. We're back again. Last week we had 0 winners because we had 0 points. But this week, there's going to be a winner. There's going to be a winner name. So, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to that boy, G Boom. Thank you so much for being a new participant this week in our PV Fantasy Football Challenge. I also want to thank Miss Morgan Cade Doucette for her also participating in PV Fantasy Football for the first time. And so, with that being said, let's get to it, man. We'll just remind y'all, right? The challenge, if you haven't participated before, get to pick one of each of these positions. And of course, offense, there's a scoring system for the offense and also a scoring system for defense, right, that we have rearranged throughout the season. All the information is going to be on the form, and the link is actually in the description of this video, so you guys can check that out. But let's get to it. So week 9 against FAMU, coming in third place, a first timer. Y'all give it up for that man, G Boom, with 17 points. With 17 points coming in in third place. Man, G Boom, man, I see you doing it big. Oh, I apologize. My bad, Morgan. You know what I'm saying? My bad. He said I'm a he. All right, my bad. My bad, bro. All right, listen. G Boom coming in third place. You know what I'm saying? I see you. All right. Coming in second place. This is somebody who is not a stranger to the top leaderboard. Second place, y'all give it up for that man, that bad man, Richard Atiba, class of 2014. By the way, G Boom, class of 1985. I see you. I see you. I see you graduating before I was even born. I see you. I see you out here getting your degree before I even came out my mama's womb. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Richard, we can't all finish first. We can't all finish first. But if you want to finish first, you got to make sure that that your prices are right. You got to make sure that the price is right. And so first place is none other than that man, Elvin Price. Listen, only by 0.6 points, by the way. Only by 0.6 points. So listen, that was a very close win, but it's a win nonetheless. We don't ask how much you win by. We just ask that you win. That's all we do. We just ask that you get the W. That's all we want. That's the same thing we want for the football team. Just get the W. We don't ask that you win. We don't ask how much you win by. Just that you win. So Elvin, man, shout out to you again for coming through and getting the dub at the top of the leaderboard. Want to shout out, you know what I'm saying, Carrie. Shout out Richard for second place. Shout out Boom for coming in third place. And appreciate Morgan, my guy, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? For your first time, you know, checking out the PV Fantasy Challenge. As Herm Edwards say, you play to win the game. Hey, listen, Boom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he played or not. He ain't on the leaderboard. All right. He ain't on the leaderboard. That's the PV. Brandon is the PV football whisperer. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you get a dub over him, you just take the dub. You know what I'm saying? Just take the dub. Just take it. Just take the dub. So with that being said, man, hey, next week, week 10 is in the description of the video already. Make sure you guys lock in for this week for homecoming against UAPB. Make sure you get your fantasy challenge in. And let's see who takes the dub this week for homecoming. You know what I'm saying? He said he ain't have time to cheat this week. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? He didn't get to call the coaches, you know what I'm saying, and know who the plays being run for. You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, let's get to these 20 questions. And listen, the first question is coming from that guy, Kerry. You know what I'm saying? Do the coaches have fight in them? That's the first question. Do the coaches have fight? That's question 0.5. Do the coaches have fight in them? Because the players, I'm still waiting to see heart. I'm still waiting to see that heart. I felt like I saw that heart against Texas Southern, but I haven't seen that heart come out since then. I haven't seen it since then. Now maybe a little bit in the Alcorn game, but other than that, I haven't really seen no fight. I ain't seen no fight, man. So anyway, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So first up, set your homecoming out. Okay, I think y'all understand. I think y'all understand. All right. You know what I'm saying? What you do the week of PV homecoming. You gotta set your homecoming out. Set it out. Set it out. Set it out. All right, let's get to it. Didn't we tell y'all not to pre-order your parking spaces? All y'all who don't listen, all y'all who act like y'all don't know the horribleness of parking. Don't y'all understand already? Don't y'all understand that you got to find the spots that you can place your car and you can leave it there without the toll and without the pay? All right? We told y'all we not buying no parking spaces. What are y'all doing? Y'all arguing about a system that ain't been together in a while. All right? So you shouldn't be shocked. All right? So we told y'all this already. Elvin, shout out to you for your win, for your dub. You know what I'm saying? Listen, everybody had players that was injured this week. People just didn't know. People just didn't know. We didn't know what's going on. Yeah, listen, I don't know what they're doing, right? Stop doing that. Stop acting crazy. Listen, how many old heads are going to sneak into the student-only concert. Because I know some of y'all are already planning to. Y'all don't even care who the artists are. I don't even know who the artists are. I ain't going to lie to you. I have no idea who these people are. I've never heard of them before. But I know some of y'all are going to figure out how to finagle y'all way into the student-only concert. I'm just trying to figure out how many of y'all is going to be. You know what I'm saying? How many alum are going to sneak into the student-only concert? Because I know y'all going to do it. I know y'all going to do it. I know y'all going to get in there. All right, let's keep it going. Does the SWAC tournament turn into a real home field advantage this week? We got the SWAC. Listen, I don't know who they are. I have no idea. But I know some people still gonna go in there. I know they're gonna get in there. I know it. I know already. I know it's gonna happen. Listen, is this gonna be a real home field advantage, or are we gonna lose this opportunity to turn up? Because I think you can really turn up at the SWAC tournament. Listen, it's already outside. They can't throw nobody out. We can go out and get it in. We can really bring the old GMC back. All right. You know what I'm saying? We can bring the old Blackshear field environment back. It's outside. What they gonna do? Who gonna throw us out? All right. Homecoming time too. Oh man, we should just surround the field. We should just surround the field and just chant and go crazy. Man, real home field advantage. It definitely should be a home field advantage. I think it's gonna be. I think we're gonna get there and get something in. You know what I'm saying? All right. It's another question. You put your thinking caps on. Would a football team finish with a record over 500? Would a football team finish with a record over 500? That means, just let me know what that means. That means they got to win out these last 3 games. That means they got to beat UAPB. They got to go to Southern and beat Southern, and they got to beat Alabama State at home the week before Thanksgiving. Thankfully, it's not during Thanksgiving week, but it's November 18th because we know how we do the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm happy it's the 18th. We got to win out. UAPB, Southern, Alabama State. That don't mean that necessarily we get the SWAC West because Alcorn State can win out. A lot of things can happen. But do we finish over 500? Kerry's like, he has no hope. He says, no, not at all. Say hoping, but don't think so. Listen, they got to win out to finish over 500. So we'll see what it is. This will be 5 and 6. It's horrible. That'll be hard. Well, first of all, it won't even be 5 and 6 because 3 and 5 right now, right? So it depends on how many games we even drop. So we'll see. Alabama State game is gonna be tough. I think so too, because I don't think we're gonna have the crowd for that game either. So, all right, listen, UAPB coming in, they've been stumped the last 2 weeks. How close would this game be going into the fourth quarter? Is this a game where we come in and get the job done, or do y'all think this game is gonna be close throughout? That's my question, right? How close will this game be going into the fourth quarter? Because that Valley game was handled right. It was under control going into the fourth. It wasn't a close game. Would this game mirror that game, or would it be different? I think this UAPB game. Say it again. I think this game won't be that close going into the fourth quarter, right? I think we'll have at least a 2-score lead. That's my thought process. But listen, I won't be shocked by anything. I ain't gonna lie. I won't be shocked if we lose to UAPB. I won't be shocked. I mean, because this team has laid eggs before. But homecoming, I'm hoping that we don't lay an egg. If we remember last year against Bethune, I mean, that game started out bad. I mean, we got down. Now we blitzed our way back. But could I see that happening? I can. I can't lie to you. I can see anything happening. So how close will this game be going into the fourth? This game better be another Valley-like game. Real tight. Ooh, 10-7. Wow. You only think we're going to score 10 points. That's crazy. All your hope is going to carry. All right. How many alums get thrown out of the soccer game this Thursday? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we going to be there? See, this is the thing. I don't think we get thrown out. It's outside. We can go there, act a plum fool. It's outside. What they going to do? We just need to show up. All right. How big will the volleyball champion be for this year's Commissioner's Cup? Listen, it's always Alabama State as one of the schools that's at the top there, right? Battling out with us. You know, Jackson is always up there as well. Listen, this volleyball tournament is going to have a big impact, I feel, on the Commissioner's Cup, right? Because all of the Olympic sports, you know, we do well. Alabama State does well. And so this game, you know what I'm saying? All the games are free. Yeah, that's why we need to show up. And why it's outside. Like, it's outside. Like, meet us outside, right? I think this volleyball tournament is going to have a big impact. That champion is going to have a big impact on the SWAC Commissioner's Cup this year. Because listen, if we can take home that championship, that's going to be huge, right? And bringing that thing back to PV. So we'll see what happens, though. Again, second place right now for the Lady Panthers. So we'll see how that goes. Listen, what will AD Golf learn this week? What will AD Golf learn this week? You know, I think he's seen the disappointing crowds so far this season, especially for some of the home football games. But what will AD Golf learn this week? What will he learn this week that will make the difference in our game day atmosphere? What will he learn this week that he says, I'm going to take this thing and implement it into what we do normally so that every game can start moving to the place where it becomes homecoming? Because I think he's going to learn, I didn't know PV Nation showed up. I didn't know PV Nation could show up like this. Now I know. Now I need to figure out how to put this in a bottle and we can sprinkle it every time we have something going on campus. You know what I'm saying? Indoor and outdoor track and field, definitely, because Alabama State always does well in that as well, too. What's going on, Jared? Appreciate you for showing up, man. You know what I mean? So he will learn how we really get down for homecoming. Yeah, he's definitely gonna learn some stuff this week. I'm hoping that he can package some of that in the bottle and figure out how do I get PV Nation out more than just for homecoming. But we'll see. Keep it going, right? Which basketball coach has the most to prove this year? Which coach do you think has the most to prove this year? I'm gonna go with Coach Sandy, Coach Pugh, because I think Coach Smith has shown that he can create winners, right? He's shown that he knows how to put a team on the floor and get the job done, right? Even though last year didn't go well, at the end of the day, he learned he needs to keep his cup full. That's a good one. I think he's shown, right, that he knows how to build a winner, right? And so he's going to be given some time in order to build this team back up to where he wants it to be, right? But he's shown, right? I mean, 3-4 years of success, I think that trumps 1 to 2 years of kind of average play. And so I think he's going to be given time. But I think Coach Pugh, it needs to be seen that she knows what she's looking to do. And I like some of what she's brought in, right? Just looking at some of the players that she's brought in for this year's team. I'm very excited to see some of these upcoming games. We'll talk about that a little bit in one of the later sessions. But I'm super excited to kind of see, her usage, how she used some of these players that she's brought in, because I think she got some girls that can get to the bucket. And I think she got a squad that can continue to still score. But I think it definitely is complete turn from what we saw last year. So we'll see, though. But, yeah, Coach Pugh, she's the one for me. You know what I'm saying? Smith got to bounce back from a couple of down years, but Mo Williams got to do something, too. Oh, Mo Williams hasn't shown yet that he can win. This is his second school, too. I mean, Mo Williams hasn't. Byron Smith has shown that he can win, right, in this conference. Mo Williams hasn't shown that he can win yet. So I think he's done a great job, right? A great job with that. Number 11, what has been the most disappointing aspect of the football team this year? What has been the most disappointing aspect of the football team this year? I think the most disappointing thing has been the secondary play. I mean, the secondary play, and in the beginning of the season, the defensive line play, I really wish that we could have created more pressure. You know what I mean? In those first 4 or 5 games, I think that would have changed a lot of things, right? If we could created pressure against Graham, right? But I think the secondary play has probably been the most disappointing. You know, seeing the new people they brought in, right, and it not pan out like I think they desired to. To me, that's been the most disappointing aspect of the team this year. And then offensively, obviously, say it every week, play calling. Play calling. You know what? Let me take that back. Actually, I think the most disappointing thing has been that I still have I I think there's some players that I think want to be dogs, right? Want to be that guy, but nobody. I think the most disappointing thing is I have not seen anybody step up and completely show that, hey, on offense, I'm that dude. On defense, I'm that dude. I don't think anybody has consistently showed that week in and week out. That I think is the most disappointing thing for me this year with this team. Is we're still waiting on somebody to rise up and say, like, yo, I'm that dude, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm that dude. So yeah, I say we got offense. Elvin says coaching. Boom, coaching. Jared, the coaching, right? Richard said he expect much more from the offense. Yeah, we got too much talent on offense to be going out like we've been. Lack of creativity and the DBs too as well. And Kerry also said from the previous question, right? King Smith gonna get his lick back, and Richard says basketball game coming up on Monday at noon. That's right. Kansas Christian. So we'll talk about that in a second too as well. Let's keep it going. Which basketball team wins the most out of conference games this year? Which team do you think wins the most out of conference games this year? Again, it's just a question, right? Men's team, women's team. We'll look at the schedule a little bit later, right? When we go to our basketball preview. But which team do you think wins the most out of conference game this year? I'm gonna go with the women's team, just because of some of the games they have, and also because they have 5 out of conference game at home, right? 5 out of conference games at home. The men only have 2 out of conference games here. Obviously, we know with some of the men's college sports, basketball, you know, it's a lot of games on the road, right, out of conference. But I was surprised to see that we got 5 games at home for the women's team. So I'm gonna say that I think they get some of the job done with some of those out of conference wins, right? Especially against some of those lower tier teams. Let's keep it going. Can the Panthers keep UAPB under 250 yards passing? Listen, we didn't do it against Valley. I mean, the question is, who have we done it against so far, right? And so, can we this week keep UAPB under 250 passing? UAPB wants to run the ball, right? You know, they want to put the ball on the ground, but are we going to be able to take care of business? We talked about already that, you know, the DBs, right? I've said it, Kerry said it, has been, for lack of better terms, right, not as productive as we want. So can we keep them under 250 passing yards? No, with 6 O's. All right. Richard, no. Yeah, again, I mean, I'm with you guys. I just think I'm still waiting on that one game where we show up and we put everything together. We keep hearing it saying, listen, we teaching it, we coaching it up, but it's not translating to the field. And I don't know what you do then at this point, right? If it's not translating to field, you got to change something up, right? What would you do to cause this team to play like they have a chip on their shoulder? And I was thinking about this. I think I was on Rocky's show with Coach Johnny Cole, and I asked him the question of, you know, what do you do when you feel like you're teaching it, you're coaching it up, but it's not translating to the field, you know, to get his perspective. But also, what do you do when you have a team that seems like they don't care? You know, it's like, yeah, I want to win, but I'm not dying to win, right? I want to win, but I mean, I'm not upset if I lose, right? Because that seems like that's what the mindset of this. I'm just being from the outside looking in, just because of there's that is not there, right? And so, what do you do to cause this team to play like they got a chip on their shoulder? What can you do to light a fire under this team? Because at the end of the day, you got 3 games to go and you're still in the hunt. But what do you do to give this team something to make them say, like, okay, this, like, we got to get serious. We got to get real, because it's just not there. It's just not there. That's a good bench some starters, including QB1. Yeah, that probably would send a message. That would definitely probably send a message. Obviously, like, who you going to go to. But that definitely would probably send a message to the whole team. It's like, hey, if they sit Trayvon, they'll sit me, right? But something got to be done, because at the end of the day, we gotta get the team to play like it means something to them, And I think just changing that would change a lot, for this team. So number 15, what's your fondest homecoming memory? What's your fondest homecoming memory, right? When you think of homecoming, I know you probably had so many great moments, so many great years, right? But what's your fondest homecoming memory? What do you think, right? You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all got years on some of us, right? So I mean, this could go back for a while. But what's your fondest homecoming memory, right? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. Let's keep it going. Will the Panthers be able to score more than 10 points? I think Kerry said we're gonna win 10-7. So he don't think we're getting over 10, and put up over 300 yards this weekend. Now, I'm asking that question because we haven't done that in the last 2 games. Scored 7 points against FAM, 0 points against HCU. Only 220 yards against FAM, 110 yards against HCU. So what we gonna do? What we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Said the first concert in the Dome. Okay, who was at the first who was at that concert? G, who was at that concert in the Dome? Man, listen, I remember seeing Cat Williams when he was on his this is at the peak of Cat Williams being Cat Williams, and they brought him to homecoming. Man, listen, during that time, man, the comedy shows was fire. Like, they brought some of the best comedians. It was crazy. And I remember, what's old boy name? I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up though. I'm gonna find it. Oh man, what's that old boy name? But Cat Williams was fire, right? He had the PV jersey on, y'all. That PV jersey that was the black. It was the black and purple PV jersey that had the gold outlines around the ladders. Ooh, that was fire. Had the mink on, right? You know what I'm saying? And came in and did his show. He killed it. Listen, that was fire. That was fire, man. Listen, seeing Cat Williams was super. That was super dope. So that question we talking about right now was, what is your fondest homecoming memory? So if you just jumped on, man, drop your fondest homecoming memory. That was fire. I ain't gonna lie. I remember that like it was yesterday. But then we had this other comedian. Man, I can't remember this guy's name though. But he came out and he literally said, like, they told me I can't cuss. He said, I don't have to cuss to be vulgar. And man, he just went crazy. And I remember just laughing so hard. I was there with my friend. He was there with his girl. And the guy asked the question, like, how many of y'all here with y'all girl until y'all come up? I just bust up laughing because he was just sitting there. He couldn't say nothing. He was just sitting there quiet. He couldn't laugh. That was hilarious. Anyway, let me keep it going. So first concert in the Dome, you know what I mean? You was listen, that was fire. Yeah, the step shows in the old women's gym. Okay, I remember this. Listen, the step shows were always fire, man. The step shows were always crazy. Seeing Natalie Cole in those red leather pants. Okay, what year was that, Carrie? What year was that? And then he said, yeah, the step shows. So, all right, so let's get back to it, right? Not over 300 yards with the same play call not been seen. So, this is a good question. UAPB has allowed some yardage these last couple games. I'm gonna say we eclipse both, right? I think we get over 300 yards and over 10 points. We've not played. FAMU has a good defense, right? So now listen, the coaching is always the question mark because it really depends on the coaching, but we should be able to eclipse 300 yards and 10 points, man. All right, who is the most dynamic player on the field this weekend? I said, set your homecoming out. Set it out, set it out, set it out. I can't yell too much, you know what I'm saying, in the house right now. But listen, set your homecoming out. All right. Listen, who's the most dynamic player on the field this weekend, right? Who is that dude that's gonna just show up? Who's that guy who's gonna let his presence be known this week? You know what I mean? Who's that dude? Who's that dude? I'm gonna go with Trajan Spiller. I think he's stayed pretty consistent, right? When he's gotten the ball. He had a couple drops earlier in the year, right? But he's been the most consistent, I'd say, at making plays. And so I'm gonna go with Trajan Spiller. Trajan Spiller. But yeah, man, who you think gonna be the most dynamic this week? You know what I mean? Who's going to be the most dynamic this week? We got Johnson on defense. Man, Johnson has let me down, man. I really was hoping that he could continue to keep that tackle per game average, higher, right? And kind of shore up that tackles for loss numbers. But he just hasn't done it, man. He hasn't done it consistently he hasn't done it consistently to be considered one of the top linebackers in the SWAC. That's what I'm trying to say, right? I was hoping that he can keep those numbers up, but he just hasn't done it, man. Some games he's completely disappeared. You know what I mean? So I think Brooks, hey, listen, Doucette with the big return, big return this past week. Hey, man, watch out for him. Yeah, man, we need to, and I think that's the thing. I think Kerry said it earlier. We need to look at some of these young bucks, man. We need to look at some of these guys who haven't gotten some of the reps that other guys have gotten, but we need to switch it up and allow some people to come and show like, hey, listen, I'm gonna fight, right? And I'm gonna come play with heart. And I think there's some guys who are on the bench or some guys who aren't getting as much playing time who could do that. So listen, shout out to Marquise, you know what I'm saying, for what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because he definitely showing up and stepped in, you know what I mean, big time for Brian Jenkins, who he's out in the return game. But yeah, man, I would love to see him, you know what I'm saying, get some more blow at receiver along with Cavill, right? I mean, he gets on the field, but he doesn't get the ball. He don't get the ball looked at his way. We got a lot of playmakers, but I would love to see us give some other guys some shots to see if we can get the job done, man. So Green has let me down on defense, and I think the young buck, number 7, you're talking about Ronald Young, right? You know what I'm saying, from Louisiana coming through. Yeah, man, stepped in. Him and Jamarius Brooks stepped in, you know what I mean, to take over for, of course, Ahmad Antoine was out. Connor Wisham got hurt this game, and Caleb Johnson got hurt this game, right? You know what I'm saying? So they stepped in, and I think they're capable. The question really is the offensive line, but I think they're capable backs, man, that can get the job done. So hopefully Connor Wisham can come back and Caleb Johnson can come back strong. I don't know why Ahmad was out this past game, but we'll see. Let's keep it going, though. Which defensive player has the biggest impact on this game? Which defensive player will have the biggest impact on this game, right? Which defensive player? We've seen Seatbelt with an interception this past game. We've seen Vasquez this past game, right? Get to the quarterback. Of course, Derek Ray has been consistent. I think if you're talking about play on the line, Derek Ray Jr. and Jamal Marshall has been consistent, right, throughout the year. And so I think they're going to continue to do their thing. But somebody in that linebacker core, somebody, in those safety spots, I think have to step up and make sure tackles, because that's the issue we had this past game. And of course in coverage. And so somebody got to step up, man. Somebody, that's my thing, man. Somebody got to step up and say, like, hey, I'm going to be that guy. On offense, I'm going to be that guy. On defense, I'm going to be that guy, right? And I wish, Kerry says, Keyshawn, I want Keyshawn to be that guy. I want him to be that guy, but he hasn't done it consistently. That's the only thing, right? Says somebody on the D line. And yeah, Savage will be that this weekend. But again, man, Savage don't get the looks that he should. Neither does Brian Jenkins. They don't get the looks that they should get at the end of the day. And so, I don't know, man. All right, number 19. It's a question. Just a question. Does Trezon have more touchdowns or interceptions this game? Because right now, at this point in the season, he has more interceptions than touchdowns. More INTs than touchdowns, right? This past game, of course, you see one touchdown thrown to 3 interceptions. Now, UAPB's defense ain't FAMU's defense, but we've seen him give the ball away in other games as well. So it's going to be more touchdowns this game or more interceptions. I'm gonna say it's gonna be. I'm gonna say we're gonna be even, because I think he's probably gonna throw for one, and he'll probably give one away. You know what I mean? I think we're probably gonna be even. You know what I'm saying? 1-1. But hey, it's a question, because right now we've seen on the year that he's giving more away than he's putting in the end zone. And again, right, some of that is on him, some of that is on play calling. But at the end of the day, you got to get it done. All right. PV wins this game if he said he will fumble one also. Okay, well, hopefully they don't get to him that much. PV wins this game if. What do we got to do to win this game? We'll win this game if we control the line of scrimmage, we win the game. That's offense, that's defense. I think, this year we have not run the ball consistently this year. We have not gotten the job done on the ground. But I think if we can get the job done on the ground, control the line of scrimmage, if we can stop UAPB from running the ball and make them throw the ball, then I think we win this game, and we win it pretty soundly going away. Again, I think just like the Valley game is going to be a game where you see UAPB put yards up, right? I definitely see them going for over 300 plus yards altogether, but not necessarily getting in the end zone that much. So I think it can be that kind and that style of game. We'll see, though. G says, control the line of scrimmage. We will win if the offense can get it going early and put the ball in the end zone. We'll see. Well, let's get it to it, man. The keys of the game. Again, like we talked about, offense, the O-line needs to win up front. Make the easy read. What I'm talking about. Don't throw the ball to the other team. Give the ball to your running backs in open space. Let them. This is the thing that we need to change, right? Like, we need to let the playmakers make plays in open space. That's it. Who's open? Who is in open space? If we can get Trezon just simply to check the ball down more often, hit the drag route more often, then at the end of the day, one, his percentage is going to go up and his yard is going to go up, because you're going to have players getting a chance to make a lot of yards after the catch. Now, again, a lot of that is in the scheme, because when you look at FAMU, if we're 8 to 10 yards off the ball, Moose is going to catch and throw and just pivot and throw and give his guy a chance to beat us one-on-one, right? He's going to do it every time. We need to put that into our arsenal and have that short passing game as a part of what we do. When Willie Simmons did his interview this other week, he said, listen, he counts the short passing game, short passing plays as a part of his running game. So when he looks at his percentages of run to pass, he's not simply looking at literal pass, literal runs, but he's saying, hey, these short passing game is an extension of the running game. And so we need to put that in our arsenal. You know what I mean? And if we do that, we have playmakers. We got playmakers. Give them the ball in open space. Let them make plays. I wish we would do that more often. That also is going to cause the defense to have to come down, right? They're going to have to squeeze more, which gives us then a chance to really throw the ball over top, which is what we want to do, right? To Trezon and to Jamarius Brooks. But if we don't play the game right, you know what I'm saying, in between the line of scrimmage and 5 yards out, we can't get what we want, but we can manipulate the defense, man, if we can just use that short passing game. So it says no turnovers. UAPB will give you 3 touchdowns easily. Just show up. All right. Win the time of possession is another thing we've talked about too. So on the defense, no big plays. Make them drive the length of the field. No big plays. Just make them have to drive the length of the field for everything they get, which means you got to make tackles. You got to make tackles, right? Which means you can't give up big passing plays. Just make them drive the length of the field, because can they do it consistently? Can they go 3 and first down consistently? 3 and first down consistently? You know what I'm saying? That's it, right? So don't give up any big plays, right? Number 2, get off the field on third down. Get off the field on third down, right? Get off the field. Make them give the ball back to our offense, right? The more you stand on the field, the more opportunities they have to get the ball in the end zone. And then create pressure up front. Again, we talked about the offense, control the line of scrimmage. Defense got to control the line of scrimmage as well. So score predictions for this week. Go ahead and drop them in the chat. Score predictions for this week. I'm going to go ahead and drop this StreamYard link if anybody is wanting to jump on and share their thoughts for this upcoming game, or for the basketball preview, then you can definitely do that. Play discipline ball, no penalties. Yes. Penalties, another thing that have killed us in multiple games, right? And being disciplined, man, just being where you're supposed to be. Just be where you're supposed to be, right? Boom got it 24-13 PV. 24-21 PV by Mr. Delvin. Anyone else? Drop your scores, you know what I'm saying, in the chat. And again, for all those who are jumping on PV versus everybody for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with PV Nation, so they can know, man, we got a place for us where we not the side dish, we not the secondary conversation, we the first conversation, right? You know what I'm saying? UAPB is terrible. They shouldn't score more than 14 points. Hey, listen, I don't care how terrible anybody is. We lost to Mississippi Valley last year with a chance to go to the SWAC championship game. We scored 7 points. Okay. I don't care how terrible anybody is. We can't take nobody lightly. You know what I'm saying? So Delvin thing is going to come down to the wires. 24-21 with Gomez hitting the last second field goal. Richard got it 31-14. Elvin got it 28-10. Woo! Morgan, 25-3. Okay. Listen, I take that from the defense. I take that. You know what I'm saying? I take that. Says UAPB has the smallest offensive line in the SWAC. All right, we'll see if our defensive line can manhandle it. So I got a 27-17 PV. 27-17 PV. Again, I think it's going to be kind of like a Valley-style game, right, where we'll be up 27-10 with UAPB driving within the last like 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. They'll score, and we'll run a clock out, something like that, right? You know what I'm saying? But I think this should be a good, comfortable win for us, But I also can't think that our defense isn't going to give up points. I just can't see our defense keeping the team under 10 points. I can't see it yet. You know what I'm saying? I would love if it happens now. I would love it, right? But I just can't see it, right? You know what I'm saying? Joe Egg got a 28-7 PV. All right. He said if we barely beat UAPB on homecoming, hey, you got to take your win. Just take your win. Just like Elvin for PV Fantasy. Just take your win, man. Just take your win. So again, man, appreciate you guys for sharing those score predictions. Now we're going to get into it, man, because now we're talking about basketball season preview. I'm super excited for the basketball season this year because at the end of the day, I think we got two teams that the conference has put in the middle of the pack on both sides, because I think at the end of the day, they just don't know where to list these teams. They don't know what we have. And I think that's going to be awesome and to our advantage this year. Again, Coach Byron Smith, man, he's done this before. He's got it done. He knows how to coach these guys up. And so I think he's going to have this men's team ready. And I think Sandy Pugh has done a good job of getting some girls in here who can who can play. And so let's talk about the basketball season preview, man. Of course, I dropped the link to the StreamYard. So if you guys are interested in jumping on, then go ahead and use that link to do so. But let's get into it first. We got the 2023 women's basketball season preview. Let's talk about the team. Let's talk about the players. Let's talk about what is upcoming for this season. Because I think this team has an awesome opportunity to make some noise. And of course, this year, Coach Pugh says, the theme is breakthrough, right? Of course, last year you was able to see that they were able to knock out Jackson State. And so listen, I think Coach Pugh is starting to formulate how she's going to be able to put a winning program together. Right. So preseason ranking was 6th in the SWAC, right? Like I said, middle of the pack. Last year, the team finished tied for 2nd. Of course, they went into the SWAC tournament in 5th place because of tiebreaker scenarios, right? But you basically have 4 teams at 12-6 in the conference last year, right? And so Southern, I think both of the Alabama schools, right? PV, all tied for 2nd. And so even though they went to the SWAC tournament 5th, they were 12-6 last year, right? So they played well. Again, their style of play was a little bit different than I think what is going to be this year, based on what Coach Pugh has shared in some of her early media availability. And I'm liking it, man, because I think she got some girls on this team and on this squad that's really going to help her out this year. So let's talk about the team and talk about the roster. 14 girls on this team and on this roster. Let me plug my phone in. This Jada Robertson, of course, graduate transfer over from Austin Peay. She played at Wright State as well her first 3 years. Austin Peay this last year. And so she's going to be joining this Panther squad. You got Nam Thornton that's coming back with Jada Bowen, Michaela Hutchinson, and then also a newcomer, Maya Williams, as well. So this team has, some new faces. Looking at Jada Robertson and what she was able to do over at Wright State and at Austin Peay. Her last year at Wright State, she was there at Wright State for 3 years. Her last year at Wright State, she actually averaged 13 points a game with 6 rebounds and 2.5 assists. And so, looking at her numbers, you can see that this is somebody who can definitely score the ball. And I think that's great. Listen, they have to replace a first-team All-SWAC player. First-team All-SWAC player in Diana Rosenthal. And at the end of the day, when you got to replace somebody who is All-SWAC, you got to get somebody who come in and score, because this team is losing their top 3 scores from last year, right? Top 3 scores from last year. And, they got to find some scoring from somewhere. Last year, they did it basically all from the outside. And I think this year that they're going to change that mindset and look to get some more easier buckets. They led the SWAC last year with, almost 6.9, basically 7 3-pointers a game. This year, I think they're going to look to move in a different direction as far as getting some more easy baskets. And so I think you're going to see a lot from Jada Robertson. She's going to have an opportunity. This last year, Austin Peay, she only averaged 7 points. She didn't get as many field goal attempts as she did before. And I think now she's going to be asked again to score the ball a little bit more. And I think she does have that capability. Keep going. We got Maya Monroe, Jennifer Gubo, Kayla Smith, LaFadria Green coming out of Monroe, Louisiana, the hometown. You know what it is. So I know she's going to give everybody their business. And then we got Adriana Waddle. Adriana Waddle was one of the ladies that Coach Pugh specifically talked about in her presser that's coming over. And so she averaged 6 and 6 last year. 6 points and 6 rebounds last year. And I believe she's at where did she come from? Westerford, I believe it was. Weatherford College. Sorry, a JUCO. So she averaged 6 and 6 last year on 50% shooting. Coming in 6'2". Okay, so definitely coming in with some size. I love the fact that the coach has brought some size in. LaFadria also coming in at 6'2". So definitely bringing a lot more size in on this team. And Maya Monroe also coming over from North American University, averaged 15 points last year. So with her and Jada Robinson at the guard positions, adding Adriana Waddle to give some backup play to of course Miss Lewis that you got coming back as well. So I think that they've done a good job of bringing in some girls. But the one that I'm really interested in, right? Of course, Geraldine Smith and Desiree Lewis, of course, coming back, and I think they're going to see more time this year. They're big as far as being on the boards. I think they're going to see a lot more field goal attempts come their way this year too. But Amaria Williams is the one who I think we need to keep an eye on, right? The first thing I saw when I started paying attention and looking at it was she's coming in at 6'4". 6'4", big body, right? 6'4", coming from Vanderbilt University, SEC school. Now, don't know the reason she was least said that they had issues with her following some team rules. So they mutually agreed for her to leave and enter the transfer portal earlier this year in January. But either way, man, this is a lady who was recruited by Boston College, LSU, Kentucky, and other top FBS schools. Ended up going to Vanderbilt. She was averaging 7 points and 5 rebounds in her time over 18 minutes a game that she was averaging this past year. And I believe 13 games that she played. So listen, this girl can play. She was the 9th rated post player in the country in 2022. Number 9 coming out of college. So you can understand why she was getting recruited by some of these bigger name schools. And so she's gonna be huge as far as coming over and being able to give the Lady Panthers right an edge. Of course, obviously at Vanderbilt, she wasn't asked to do much. She didn't play. I said 18 minutes average. The highest time she's played in a game last year was 18 minutes, right? She averaged around 12 minutes a game. And so again, right, with the amount of touches that she got last year, her being able to put up 7 and 5, that's big, man. Because listen, she's going to get touches here. She's going to get the ball here. With that big frame, being able to protect the paint, right? Be able to redirect shots, right? Not allow individuals just to be able to come in and score. This is going to be huge, right? So this size that they have on this team this year with Amari Williams, with the LaFasia Green, with the Adriana Waddle, this is big, right? This is huge for, I think, what Coach Pugh is seeking to do in the direction he's seeking to go in, right? Now, I think it's going to be big depending on some of these returning players she got come back, what kind of step they take up. Some of these ladies that's been in the program 2 or 3 years, right, from that first team that she brought in. So, again, like a Geraldine Smith, Desiree Lewis, right, Jalea Harper, right? Some of these players who are going to get some minutes, right? Some minutes increased this year, and also be asked, right, to do a little bit more on the offensive end is really going to depend, right? But I want to really see what Amari Williams do as a player who was highly recruited, as a player who went the SEC route, right, and now has come to us here at Prairie View. This, I think, gives her an opportunity to dominate in this league against other players, and of course, she gets to start out going up against some other competition, right? Some of the FCS and FBS competition, D1 competition, right? And so we'll see what she does, right? And what numbers she can put up. And again, like Jada, I'm also interested to see, because she had an opportunity where she could score. Maya, coming from North American, again, a lower level D2, but she was there and she was putting up points. She was putting the ball in the basket. And so it's going to be interesting to see how the distribution of shots is going to go this year. But I think that this team is going to move a little bit away from, putting the ball up from outside and looking to pound the ball on the inside, which is good. Now, the thing that I did see was that none of these ladies have had a great free throw percentage. And that needs to change, and that needs to increase, because if we're going to be getting the ball inside, if we're going to be going a route of looking to get other teams in foul trouble and get to the line, get some free buckets, you got to take advantage of it. And so, didn't see great free throw percentage across the board with this team, with the players that are brought in. Hopefully that can increase though this year, right? And we can get something going there. So we look at the coaching staff, right? Of course, Coach Pugh. We got Danny Evans as associate coach. Rhonda Jackson is the women's basketball director of operations. David Frank Jr. is the recruitment coordinator, and Jeanette Jackson is the assistant coach for this team. And so super excited about this staff. Coach Pugh talked about how she brought some members that was on the staff before back. And so I think she's really excited about this combination that they have going on. And I'm super excited to see this team get to work, right? Of course, their first game is going to be November 9th, which is a home game. All the home games are in gold, right? They play Houston Tillotson. Again, they got North American at home. And of course, with that Pac-12 SWAC challenge that's going on, that home and home series, last year the men's team had got a chance to play Washington State at home. This year, the women's team gets Washington State at home on November 19th. We also have Incarnate Word on the 27th and Wiley College on the 30th. Again, away games, McNeese State, Tulane, TCU, Rice, and Texas A&M. So 10 out-of-conference games this year with the 18 SWAC conference games, 28 total. But again, right, I like this schedule, right? I like the fact that we have 5 home games, giving the ladies a chance to play at home in front of their home crowd. Now, looking at the attendance, the SWAC said that we averaged the least attendance for the women's games, only 394 people in the stands. So we definitely got to increase that and give more support this year to the team. But yeah, I think this team has an awesome chance to compete in the SWAC this year and get the job done. Of course, out of conference schedule, which again, the SWAC plays a conference schedule. They play a conference schedule where the men and women play on the same day. Definitely helps with travel. And so you see the schedule there, right? We go to Louisiana for the first. Then we got Valley and Pine Bluff at home. Then we go to the Mississippi schools. We have the Alabama schools at home this year. Then we have Texas Southern at home before going out to Florida and playing the Florida schools. Then we're back at home to play against Southern and Graham. And we're on the road for Pine Bluff and Valley before having Alcorn and Jackson come to us as well. And so if you see, we play Alcorn and Jackson. We play Jackson State and Valley twice. Those are the 2 teams that we play twice this year in the conference. The other 4 teams from the East, we only play them once. And so we have Alabama State and Alabama A&M at home. Got Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman on the road. So that's kind of how it shaked out this year for the Lady Panthers. But said double duty for the women on the 19th. Yeah. So because, we do have the SWAC volleyball tournament on the 19th of November, right? So, but with that said, man, I think this is a great schedule for the team this year. I think I'm really excited to see what this team looks like and kind of how Coach Pugh decides to distribute some of the workload, especially with some of the returning players that's been in her program for 3 years now. I think this junior year for a lot of those players, right, or redshirt sophomore year for some of those players is going to be a big year to see them step up and add that with the pieces that she's brought in, right? So that Vanderbilt piece, though, Amari Williams, huge, 6'4". Listen, watch out for that name. Watch out for that name. Watch out for Jada for that name, right? Because I think she's going to be able to get back a little bit to what you saw her doing at Wright State, right, where she was one of the primary scorers on the team, right? I think she's probably most likely going to be the second option when everything shakes out as far as what she gets and the opportunity she gets to put the ball up. So we'll see as we keep going and keep moving forward. Now let's talk about the men basketball season preview. This is definitely interesting, right? Because of the men's team, it's like a completely different team. Really, you only have 2 holdovers from the team from last year. And so Coach Byron Smith has completely brought in a whole new unit. And so it's going to be exciting to get to learn these gentlemen and see kind of what their strengths and their weaknesses are. Of course, their preseason rankings was the same as the ladies, which was 6th place. And I think this is just because at the end of the day, they don't listen. We both got new teams with a lot of new influx of players, right? The women's team, the top 3 scorers gone, right? You got to find out where you're coming from, right? The men's team, the same thing, right? Literally, right? The whole team is gone. So this is a completely new team we got this year. But like I say, I'm excited for the individuals we got in, right? So, of course, Kevin McGaskey coming over. And then another thing that I looked at and I liked about some of the players that Coach Byron brought in this year too was we have a lot of like local kids that's coming in, right? You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of kids from Houston, from Atascocita, from Missouri City, right? So a couple kids are coming in that this is home for them. And so I think that's exciting too for them to be able to come home, be comfortable, play in front of, their family too as well. And some guys who played well at other levels. So again, I think that's good to get guys who played some big minutes at some other in some other conferences, right? Play some big minutes in important games and important roles. That's super important. And so again, I like the mix that he got, right? So Kevin McGaskey, Charles Lane Jr. is a graduate as well, along with Charles Smith the fourth. Charles Smith is coming over from Old Dominion. He played his first 2 years at SMU. The last 2 years was at Old Dominion. And you can see it was a mixed bag. He, again, wasn't asked to do much. And I think that's kind of going to be the thing with this team is you got guys who wasn't asked to do a lot, who showed in spurts what they can be. But when you look at the distribution of shots, for example, last year, right? The team averaged about, I think it was 64 field goal attempts a game, right? You had Will Douglas, who averaged 12 to 13 a game, right? You got Razas, who averaged 9. You had another player average 9, another average 8, right? So you look right there, right? You're talking about that's 40 shots that's right there between those players. And so you got a completely new team coming in. So you're looking at, okay, how are we going to distribute shot attempts across these new individuals and what they've done? A lot of these guys have never averaged that many shot attempts a game, right? And so some of these averages that we see and what they've done, well, those shot attempts are going to increase. Those averages aren't going to stay the same. But I still like to see the fact that that some of their averages are pretty good for what they did, right? So when you talk about Charles Smith, right, at Old Dominion this past year, right? We talk about 3-point percentage, shot 35% from 3. That's big, right? But again, he only put up 65 shots altogether. 65 shots total, 43 of those were 3-pointers, right? And so again, he was definitely not a volume shooter or a volume scorer, right? The most attempts he had in the game last year was 8. And so this is a person who only averaged 3.5 attempts a game last season at Old Dominion, but he's definitely going to be asked to shoot the ball a lot more this year. Now, in his junior season at Old Dominion, he shot the ball a lot more, right? 136 total attempts, 98 3-point attempts, right? But again, that's still way lower than when you think of the 500 attempts that Will Douglas put up, right? You think of the 276, 312 attempts that Will Douglas put up. When you think of the 276 attempts that Rojas put up, right? So Rosas put up. So these numbers are going to increase because he's going to be asked to score the ball a lot more than he was asked to score the ball at Old Dominion or at SMU. And so again, right, these percentages are going to change. So in 2021-2022 season, he only shot 28% from the 3. Right. Whereas last year he shot 35% for 3. But again, he shot half of the number of threes he shot in 21-22. So again, those numbers are going to change, but it's going to be interesting to see as their shot attempts increase, what they'll do for these individuals. Now, as we keep it going, we got Brian Miles, who's again coming back. Ronald Guys. Yeah. And that's another thing that I noticed too. The tallest player on this men's team is 6'8", right? 6'8" is the tallest player on this men's team. The rest are 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", right? And so at the end of the day, there's going to be some teams that you go up against, especially out of conference, that you're literally going to get killed on the boards, right? And so, we're going to definitely have to find a way to fight and claw. But at the end of the day, that's going to be an issue probably that we're going to have to deal with all year. Now, Ronald Giles Jr., this is another guy that I'm excited to see what he can bring here, right? Because this is a guy that's coming from St. Francis, right? Up in the New York area. I mean, in Maryland, the New York area, right? And so he's a guy who's a starter at St. Francis, both in 2021 and in 2022. He averaged 10 points and 3.5 rebounds, 21-22. averaged 8.7 points and 2 rebounds in 2020 and 2021, right? And so this is a guy who's played, right? Again, some great competition, played in a lot of games. He had 10 games over double figures in that 2021-2022 season. So this is also another guy I think that can come in that's not a volume shooter, but that can give you some consistency as far as getting the ball in the basket, right? And so this is another big a big pickup, I think, for the team as well. We look at Jonathan Nash. We got Orlando Horton Jr., which is one of the freshmen on this team. Nicholas Gazales. I don't know how you say his last name right, but Nicholas Gazales. I don't know. Anyway, he's coming from Atascocita, right? He was at Atascocita High School, played at Montana State in the Big Sky Conference. This is another guy, right, that I'm excited to see what he can bring. When you look at his percentages as far as what he shot, especially from the three, this is another guy, right, that shot it well from the three in 2020, 2021, and also in 21 and 2022. 35% from three in 20 and 21. 36% from three in 21-22. Now, last year, his numbers definitely dipped a lot, but again, he didn't play as many minutes as he played the 2 prior years, right? And so he went down to where he averaged 18 minutes and then 14 minutes a game to only averaging 9 minutes a game. Went down to only 28 3-pointers that he put up last year and shot 18%, right? So again, it's like, hey, is he the junior year guy, or is this the guy from the senior year? And I think a lot of the players that you see coming in, where they had a strong junior year, and then it looks like they had some playing time taken away, or whatever happened right in your senior years, and now they're coming out either as a graduate or as a senior, right? To have an opportunity, right, to play a little bit more, right, and have more opportunity. But this is a guy that can score the ball. He also is a guy that played big minutes in the Big Sky Championship game, right, in the year 2022, right? So had big minutes in a Big Sky Championship game, put up 15 points in that championship game, right? And so this is a guy that you again want to watch for, because at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, this is a guy who I think is going to get a lot of opportunities this year. Again, got Javante Hopkins, Justin Nimmer, another guy that's coming over from another program. Cyrus Grisby is coming over from St. Francis, Brooklyn. And so he is also another guy to watch out for. He was a big scorer in the JUCO ranks last year, St. Francis, Brooklyn. Not that well, right? But this is the 6'8" guy you have on your team. And so this is a bigger body, 6'8", 225, that again you're gonna need at times to play in the post, right? So he's gonna be an interesting guy that you add. Of course, Traylon Porche, who's also came in to play football, is also on the basketball team as well. Mark Anthony McReed, Chris Felix Jr., and also Andre Nunley, who is one of the holdovers from last year. And then also we got McKinley Harris, right, which is another holdover from last year as well, right? So looks like it's going to be a good mix, right? I'm interested to see again, right, the distribution on shots, right, because you brought in a lot of new guys, and so it's going to be interesting to see how they gel, and also on the boards, because you did a good job on last year of this team not getting beat on the boards. Actually, the margin I think was we out rebounded opponents by 2 last year on the boards, right? And so you need to keep that together, right? Because that means you're going to be in games at the end of the day, right? Defense don't stop until you get the ball. And so at the end of the day, we got to control the boards on the defensive end, especially not give up second chance opportunities. But with a team this small, you're going to really have to fight to make sure you control the board. So that's going to be interesting too as well. Of course, with the coaching staff, Byron Smith, head coach, Spencer Robertson, men's assistant coach, Johnny Williams, and then also Jacob Galindo, right? And so when we look at the out-of-conference schedule this year, only 2 home games. Kansas Christian College on the 6th, right, which is this upcoming Monday. And then you got North American on December 18th. That's it for home games for out-of-conference. So the men's team will be on the road a lot. Of course, going up to Seattle University, going to Washington State, Abilene and UT Martin and Eastern Kentucky are in I think like a round robin that they're playing. And then you got Tulane, you go to Iowa State, Northern Iowa, got Rice here in Houston, UTSA in San Antonio, and then College Station of Texas A&M. Now, those last 3 games, I'm happy because even though you are on the road, they don't have like travel so far, because you already had to travel through the first beginning of your schedule. So kind of giving them a chance to kind of be closer to home, be close at home was good. So we should have been hosting Rice this year. Have we ever hosted Rice for a home game? That's interesting. For the men's basketball team, it was interesting to see that last year we averaged a little bit over 1,000. So we were number 10 as far as SWAC attendance last year for the men's games. So over 1,000 people coming to the men's game, which is pretty good. I was actually shocked to see that we averaged that many people for the men's basketball game. But it's going to be cool to see if we can keep that momentum going, right, and get some people out to the games to watch this team and support this team, right? So, of course, conference games, same as the women, right? You got the same slate of games. Again, this is going to be an interesting year. I think we're going to be able to tell once we kind of get into see some of these out-of-conference games played, how this team gels together, because these is completely new team, completely new faces, right? Like this is not this is not like a team that's been here and that's been building, and that's kind of the thing that scares me a little bit with you having complete new faces coming in, because how quickly do they gel together? And can they play, man? Some of these other schools have a lot of people that's returning, people that been in the program for a couple years. And so that continuity is able to be there, right? But again, I do trust Coach Byron. Like, I think he's shown that he should have some trust put in him. And so I'm still waiting to see, man, and excited to see some of these players that we got, because I think we got some guys who have shown that they can do well. So now I think we got 3 or 4 guys who coming in now. They have a bigger spotlight. They're coming from a bigger pond, right? And now they're coming to a smaller pond. And let's see, right, who's able to step up and really show that they can be that guy. I think Will Douglas had his opportunity and show what he can do. This is now another opportunity for some guys to see what they can do as well, right? So yeah, man, that's the end of our season preview for our men's and women's basketball team. Again, the first game for the men's team is going to be on the 6th. It's a home game against Kansas Christian. It is going to be in the Baby Dome. So again, make sure you're there. It's the day right after the SWAC Women's SWAC Soccer Championship game, which hopefully PV is also playing in, right? So that's why I said, right, we got a lot of big things going on right now throughout this week, man, with all the things transpiring on homecoming, with all the things transpiring with the women's soccer, the volleyball team coming to end, football team still in the SWAC West race. It's a good time of year, man, with all this stuff going on. So just make sure you support PV Nation, man. And again, if you guys have not done it yet, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you share it with others, man. Make sure you share with others and let them know. I'm probably going to cut up this basketball preview and have it as a standalone video as well. So those who just want to come and watch the basketball preview and check it out will get a chance to do that. But I'm super excited, man. I kind of want to see how this team is going to gel. Like, basketball is probably my favorite sport. You know what I'm saying? Next to football, like, basketball is probably my number one. You know what I'm saying? Football is close second. So I'm super excited for the basketball season and seeing what we got going this year with this team. I definitely will try to put some games on too as well, especially some ESPN Plus games like we did with the volleyball team. So so hopefully, I have a chance to broadcast some of those if I'm able, especially some of those out of conference games when the team is traveling on the road. So again, man, thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for stepping in. Yeah, man, appreciate y'all for jumping and joining on the show. Again, until next time, man, hopefully we get this win so we can really set your homecoming out. Set it out, set it out, set it out. Anyway, until next time, man, I'll see y'all later. Holla.